That's a recording. So I'll just start with a few questions about your new album and the tour that's coming up. So I had a listen to your album last night, 10, and it's got a lot of big guests. It's got Andy James, who's one of my favorite YouTube guitarists. It's got Jeff Loomis, absolute legend, Todd De La Torre. I'm just wondering, can you tell us a bit about the album and how you managed to get all these big guests to come play on the album as well?
Well, all these guys, believe it or not, are my friends. And, I whether it's in person, me actually hanging out with them, which Todd La Torre I see all the time. We play STRYPER with Queensryche, and he and I hang out. We talk on the phone all the time. We're really good friends. Some of the guys I've never met. Like, I've never met Andy James. Mm-hmm. But we do stay in contact through email, through, private messages, Instagram or Twitter or what have you. And I've always wanted to work with Andy. He's one of my favorite players. I discovered Andy maybe 5 years ago. 6 years ago, I started watching him on YouTube, and he instantly became one of my favorite players, and I always said to myself, I got to work with this guy. Then that goes for everyone on this album. Marzi, Joel, Ethan, Jeff Loomis, who Jeff actually reached out to me and said, I got to play on your album. But all these guys are my favorite players. They're all guys that I watch on YouTube all the time and guys that I really respect, and I wanted them to be a part of my album. And I just wanted to have them come in to help take it to a new level, and they did.
Oh. You're also coming to Australia this month. It's in about 2 weeks' time. You're going to be doing a solo acoustic tour. I'm just wondering, what can fans expect? Will there be, more cover songs, or will be STRYPER songs, solo songs? What can we expect from the tour?
Well, I tell you, that's the tricky part, is trying to fit everything in within, 80, 90-minute set and please everybody. And that's a struggle for STRYPER as well. It's hard because we've got a big catalog, a lot of STRYPER albums, a lot of Michael Sweet albums. But I'm definitely going to be doing some STRYPER songs. I'm, of course, doing solo songs. I'm going to be throwing in a Sweet and Lynch song or two, and I'm also throwing in some Boston songs as well. So I'm doing my best. I feel that I have a pretty good set list going right now. I think it's 17 or 18 songs. So it's going to be a good 90-minute set list, or certainly close to that. And, I love to talk to people in between songs and tell stories about the songs and the history of a particular song. So, it's really an intimate, personable experience for anyone coming to the show.
Definitely. And I know you're in Australia not too long ago, and with that tour, Oz Fox, your guitarist, actually had to pull out. I'm just wondering, how's he doing? Is he recovering at all, and what was it like to tour without him?
Well, I tell you, Oz is doing better. He's been on a really healthy diet and doing a lot of things holistically that are really good for him. So he's feeling good. There are still questions that aren't answered with what's going on because a biopsy hasn't been done yet or surgery hasn't been done. So there's still a lot of variables and unknowns, but he's in a good place right now and feeling good and strong. It was very interesting touring without Oz. Obviously, he's a staple in the band and in the set, and it's difficult because we have a lot of dual harmony guitar parts. It's difficult to go out and pull that stuff off with one guitar. And whether it's just me doing it or just him doing it, it's impossible to do. But we gave our all and gave our best. We did our best to pull it off. I wanted to respect Oz. That's why a lot of times I didn't play a solo over his solo section. I just played a rhythm. I just felt, I don't know, that's what I felt comfortable doing. I could have gone up there and just jammed and played solos all night long, but I didn't feel led to do that. But, the greatest thing about that run and that tour was the acceptance from the fans, the Australian fans. People came out to support us, and they were very acceptive of everything going on, and everyone seemed to really enjoy themselves, and the reviews were really good. People really liked seeing that set, and us going and performing as a trio. People seemed to really like it, and I think appreciate the fact that we gave our all and tried no matter what.
Definitely. And these are some of the questions now I'm pretty interested to talk to you about, because you're well known as being a Christian band, and for myself, I've only become a Christian within the last 2 years. I was sort of, more or less an atheist for my whole life, and turned to God, fairly recently. I was just wondering, how did you end up becoming a Christian? Was that something your parents, brought you into the church, or did you come into the church later in life?
Wow, that's quite a story, man, and I'm really very happy to hear that you found God. It's interesting because Todd LaTorre is an atheist,
mm-hmm.
and he's a dear friend of mine, and some of my dear friends and best friends are atheists, and it's a matter of respect and love, and loving one another, and unconditional love, no matter what. And the way I came to know God was the family accepted Christ through Jimmy Swaggart, believe it or not, on television. We were watching him on television and then watched him again and then again and again, week after week, and we accepted Christ, and we wound up finding a church, and we started going to church. And this is when I was 11 and 12 years old. And I really committed my life when I was 12. And then eventually I kind of fell out of that and became less interested in church, got more involved in music and the scene that goes along with that typically. And I started, as I got a little older, 15, 16, 17 years old, I started drinking and smoking and doing that whole thing. And I walked that path for a while. And when I turned 20 years old, that's when I rededicated my life. Mm-hmm. And my brother did as well. And we devoted the band to God. And that was in 1983. Yep. And right before we became STRYPER, we all decided to do that together as a band. And it was very cool. And it was obviously a life-changing experience and moment in time, and the rest is history. There's been no regrets, no looking back. We've made a bold stand for God, and I think the world knows that, and hopefully we've encouraged and inspired some people.
Yeah. I know when STRYPER first came out, you're a very heavy band at the time. Were people in the church supportive of it? Because they might have, associated just the heavy sound with, Satanism or darker elements.
They weren't 100% supportive. We had some people in the church support us, but most people no. I think they didn't know what to think of us. They were shocked. They were, maybe even a little frightened by what we were doing, because it was something that really had never been done before. There was no band like STRYPER. When we came on the scene in '84, released our first album, and we started performing, people from both sides didn't know what to take of us or think of us, from the mainstream side to the Christian side. So it was difficult for us to find our place, but we eventually found it, and we stayed true to ourselves and stuck to our calling, and everything worked out.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any favorite books in the Bible, or any books you'd recommend people that aren't Christian? What books you'd start with to the best introduction to Christianity?
Oh my gosh, man. Well, I mean, the thing I would always recommend is get a translation of the Bible that's easy to read and easy to understand. There's quite a few of them. Don't get eventually get a King James version, or get something that's more complex, but don't start with that. You can start with the Living Bible. You can start with something that's just, translated in just everyday way of speaking, and you can relate to it more. There's even Bibles that are focused on teens and focused on, different languages, obviously, and different ways of speaking. But I would get something that's very simple and put into a format that's very simple and easy to read and understand.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
certainly the Bible. I mean, that's the book I would recommend to anybody.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed recently Kanye West just put out a new album. It's called Jesus is King. I actually had a listen. I was never really a fan, but it's quite a good album. I'm just wondering what you think of that. Do you think, Christians should rely on celebrity endorsement, or do you think, he's being genuine?
Well, I think it's amazing. I applaud Kanye if it's sincere, which it seems to be. I think it's amazing. He's reaching a lot of folks that a lot of other people aren't able to reach or haven't been reaching. So it's very cool, and it's a light in the dark. To see Kanye proclaiming, Christ is King, King of Kings, and it's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Awesome. When you're doing like big festivals and you're playing around and lots of different metal bands, do you ever feel uneasy when there's bands that are just very openly blasphemous?
Well, I don't know if uneasy is the right word, but certainly you can feel that heaviness. You can feel the darkness. Sometimes it's so thick you can cut it with a knife. I mean, we've played some pretty dark festivals with some pretty dark bands. But, STRYPER's always been a band that's gone in there and just really boldly proclaimed Christ, never backed down from it. We've had stuff thrown at us. We've been booed off the stage before. And it doesn't stop us from what we're called to do or what we're there to do. But, yeah, man, we've met some pretty dark forces along the way and come in contact with some dark forces, and it's pretty eye-opening.
Definitely. When you have those experiences, when you get booed off the stage, is it, hard to be confident to want to go out and do it again the next night?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're here, we're put on earth to do this, and we love what we do. And, we get excited about it. We really do, and we get energized from it. And we love going out and performing. Unless we're sick or we're not feeling well, we're under the weather. I mean, obviously, in those times, it's difficult to want to get out there with all your energy and do it again and again and again. But, we, for the most part, we just, as long as we're healthy and we're out there able to do it, we love it. Absolutely love every moment of it.
Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of musicians within the metal scene that are openly Christian. I know David Ellefson and David Mustaine from Megadeth are Christian, but I don't hear of too many others. Is there a lot that aren't open about it that you might have talked to on tour that just keep it private? I've
definitely come across people in bands that I've talked to that I've found out that they're Christians, and it's always very refreshing. I do think to myself, to be honest, like that's why not be more open about it, more public about it? That's something that I don't really understand. I've actually had people tell me that, I want to be careful. I'm a Christian, but I want to be careful what I say because it might hurt my career. And I think to myself, gosh, well, that's sad. That's very sad that you put your career above Christ. But there are people that are very outspoken about it, and they let it be known. They talk about it, and I think that's amazing, and I respect those people. It's not an easy road to take. When you're outspoken about Christ, you're instantly opening that door to be persecuted and have people come against you. But you know what? There's nothing better to stand for.
Definitely. So I'll just ask you, what are your plans for the rest of this year in 2020? Will there be more solo stuff coming up? And when do you think STRYPER will be doing music again?
Well, there aren't a lot more plans for me solo-wise. I come home from Australia, and then we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. And then I'm going to start writing the next STRYPER album, probably late November, early December, and have it written by the end of December. And then the guys are coming out to my house January 6th, and we're going to start doing pre-production and learning the songs. We'll start recording on the 18th or 19th of January. It'll take a few weeks to do all the basic tracks. The only other thing I have solo-wise this year is a annual Christmas show that I do in my hometown of Plymouth, and that's at a place called the Spire Center. And that's the only thing. That's the only other thing after my trip to Australia.
Oh, that's awesome. That's all the questions I got, but it was really cool to be able to talk to you. I had a lot of questions that I wanted to ask today, and I feel like you gave some pretty good answers. So thanks very much for that, and I'll be at the tour as well, so I'll take some photos for you, Brisbane.
Well, my friend, I want to say thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and it's been a pleasure and an honor talking to you. And I want to remind everybody, some people, for some reason there's been a little confusion with these shows regarding meet and greets. So some people don't think I'm doing them. I want to tell everyone that I am. Mm-hmm. And if you want any more information about meet and greets, you can go to michaelsweet.com, click on the tour link, mm-hmm. and that'll give you all the information at every show. But, okay. Man, I look forward to seeing you. I hope we can meet.
Yeah, definitely. I'll come say hi.
Okay, brother.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Have a good day.
God bless you, man. Take care. Bye-bye.